Welcome to Behind the Brief, the podcast where we go beyond the buzzwords and dive deep into the marketing strategies that actually work. I'm your host, Shruti Verma, and today's episode is a treat. I am joined by someone I vibed instantly with, which is Michele. We are talking AI, product marketing, GDM shifts, and everything between. Michele is a 3x top 100 product marketing leader, a proud tech nerd, and one of the most curious, sharp, and future facing minds I've met in this space. She is a complex problem solver and an AI enthusiast, and someone who truly obsesses over the customer experience. My kind of person. We have been chatting about how AI is changing the way we work as PMMs, and I knew I had to actually bring this up in the conversation, and I couldn't find anyone better than Michele to actually discuss on this topic. So, Michele, let's get right into it, and welcome to my show. Really excited about this.
Love it. I mean, yes, we connected right off the bat, and anyone who wants to nerd out on AI with me, I'll talk about it all day. I can't wait.
Exactly. I really wanted to understand how AI has actually impacted the day-to-day of a product marketer. Is it changing how we write positioning? Are we talking about GTM strategies that are getting smarter, or just noisier and generic? What do you have to say on that?
Yeah, I think there is a really, really big shift happening, but not in like we're being replaced and robots are taking over and the doom and gloom that, sometimes comes with AI. I swear, every day, I think it was just yesterday on LinkedIn, it was something like, if you're not talking about how AI is replacing your workforce or your marketing team, you're telling the wrong story, you're not being honest. And I'm like, to me, AI can be your best friend. And I think the people that really learn how to adopt it and use it are going to be the ones that, really excel in their careers and really accelerate what they're doing for business. Is because if you think about where AI is fundamentally helping us right now, it's helping us with speed and strategy, right? So I don't know, back in the day where this is an interesting dynamic to me, because I'll call myself an elder emo, I'm maybe a little bit older than the newbies coming in. Yeah. There's this difference between the marketers and product marketers who didn't grow up in the world of AI, right? They had to do everything from scratch. They started their messaging doc with a totally blank canvas, right? Absolutely no help from AI or ChatGPT. And then the newbies are coming in, that's how they know inherently to go there first. And so something to think about is what does that difference mean? And are the people that started without AI going to outperform those that have it? And to me, I feel like I have to catch up, because instead of starting with that blank canvas, you have a really, really solid start for something like message, for something like validating go-to-market strategy. I think something I love about AI is you can validate it too, right? You can have this back and forth of there's really fun prompts you can put in, right? I'm a cynical prospect in this industry, and I don't trust this kind of technology. How would you respond to that? And you almost have a back and forth kind of battling the tech, what objections would you, give me, and how would you overcome them? And so there's such a better basis, not to just to build a go-to-market strategy, have a foundation to start building messaging off of and things like that. But that back and forth is kind of creepy, but kind of fun. It's fun how you kind of test the AI a little bit. You can ask them the same questions, or different questions and go down that rabbit hole literally as much as it wants.
Yeah. I have personally seen it make campaign testing faster as well, but I think messaging still needs a little bit of human touch. It needs our context setting. So what has best worked for you in this scenario?
Yeah, so I think two things when it comes to that. One of the big shifts I'm seeing is the world is noisier, because so many people are starting with that same baseline level content, right? They're starting at good enough. So it's really noisy, because it's then how do you keep that human in the loop and kind of break through with it, with your messaging? I think that's so important. And it's you have to have to make your messaging stand out when everyone has the same prompts, getting the same kind of foundational messaging, right? How do you really have those, I don't even know if you call them light bulb moments, but it's really how you tweak it, like you said, that matters. Is it really focused on the outside, the voice of the customer? Are you sure about their pain points? And the way, even empathy, right? The struggle is real for people out there. And when you know that, and when you can talk in that way, and those nuances that build that emotion, that build that loyalty within your messaging, that's, I think, where you really shine and can break through. If everyone's starting on that same kind of level playing field, you have to think about those nuances to really make sure your messaging stands out. So 100%, yeah, you have to tweak your messaging. Do not just AI copy paste, call it a day. It's, bad ideas.
Yeah.
You will fall into the buzzword cyclone.
Exactly. Yeah, and I feel it has become a part of our day to day, right? Like to using AI tools and everything. So, as a product marketer, has it changed the way you have worked? Like in thinking about your marketing strategy, what's the first thing you do in your day to day that it actually you see the impact? Like, what if this tool was not there 2 years ago? I could have done this job better. So, what's that change that you've seen
But
majorly?
like everything.
I know.
I hate to say it, but like, so the conversations that I have with like other product marketers and that I'm learning myself is like, I wish I had an AI to do X, Y, and Z. I wish I had an AI to turn my messaging doc into a one pager. I wish I had AI to write all my blog posts for me and build a content calendar and help with sales enablement. So it's like the thing that I think is really a cool opportunity for product marketers using AI is like we do so many things.
Mhm.
Now, how do we find the right tools to help support us in each of those roles? And I think, I mean, there's a million tools, a million things to try, but when you find the right ones that really work, like it's just so cool. I don't know how
Yeah.
to think about it. So, I mean, it really impacts almost everything I do. I don't think I go a day now without being in Chat GPT asking it something or Perplexity asking about market research or, something about competitors comes up and I say, "Hey, Chat GPT or Claude, like tell me the real important takeaways of this or how does this impact my market message or an upcoming launch that I'm doing?" Things like that. So, yeah, it's my new best friend. I don't know. I work remote. This now I just talk to AI. It's fine. We're fine.
Exactly. I think it's the perfect replacement for the thousands of tabs we used to have open, but now it's like thousands of chats that are open on these Perplexity and ChatGPT and all of that. So,
Or both. Yeah,
yeah,
there's one
exactly.
I can't even remember the name of it, but it'll so you put in a prompt and it's like battling side by side Claude versus Chat GPT versus like another AI, and you can see it generate
Wow.
each of them at the same time. It's like the AIs, battling each other. But so I mean, like you said, it's I don't know, maybe I have both tabs and chats, but
Oh my God. I think it's a lot of noise now.
yeah. Oh, yeah. Right. But to your like, how do where do you even start? Like, I have product marketing teams come to me and they're like, we have a budget for AI tools, but like, where
Mhm.
do you even start? Right. I mean, there's so many things. I don't know. Do you have a favorite one that you use or do you live in ChatGPT like me? I don't know.
I live and breathe ChatGPT. I don't know. It has become a default. Like it
Yeah.
has replaced Google for me. It's just that I just open it right away and it's become my assistant. Like it's a AI assistant for my writing. It's become like my go-to for researching about so many things that I want to just summarize and get my work done with. So it's
Yeah.
just making things faster and easier, I guess.
Our parents read the newspaper and we read ChatGPT
Oh
updates.
my
Like,
God.
it's fine. We're evolving. It's cool.
Exactly. Yeah. And maybe they don't understand us and we won't understand the next generation that comes with ChatGPT installed in their phones already. And you can't even see and imagine the use cases that are going to be coming up in the next few years. So it's
That's
gonna
what
be crazy.
excites me. It scares me, but excites me. Like, I
Yeah.
mean, now I'm dating myself. Like those Disney movies where you had like Smart House and there, the robots AI could like cook and clean your house. I'm like, that is what I want. These kind of marketing use cases are wild. And like, anyway,
Exactly.
yeah.
Yeah, okay, moving on. I really want to understand. Do you have an example or can you walk me through a time where you actually use AI to build a GTM strategy or a messaging or a positioning? Like, was it a success or did it flop? What did you learn from that experience?
Yeah. So, for better or for worse, so I work in the like MarTech customer data space. It is I don't know if anyone's seen, the Scott Brinker, Franz Romero like tool, the updated list of tools. I mean, there's like 35,000 or something insane. So I say that because in a crowded space like MarTech or customer data, thinking what your go-to-market strategy is or how you launch something is like critically important because everyone's using this. I mean, AI power, like everyone's using the same buzzwords, right? What I think AI does really well, tools like Perplexity, and I'm seeing a lot of new market research tools. I think Alpha Sense is a new one I haven't tried yet, but I want to. The market research that goes into how are competitors positioning things. So in my case, I was working on a data governance solution, right, around consent enforcement, which is kind of a new category, but a subset of a bigger category around consent management. So what that basically is, every time you're on a website, a little banner comes up like, do you want to accept these cookies or not? Like stuff like that. But it's like, how do you make sure that Shruti says, that you don't accept cookies on a website and that preference follows you throughout the entire ecosystem where your data is being shared, where, everyone wants to target you for the new pair of athletic shorts, whatever it is. But if you didn't want your information shared, how does that, anyway, now I'm getting technical, but long story short, so using AI to validate, does anything like this exist? Who are good partners to work with? So for us, it was OneTrust because they're really big and obvious in the consent management space. Our integrations work really well. But again, how are competitors talking about consent? Like, what are the big trends that are happening? Does anything like this even exist? Why would someone care about how that plays well with their consent management system and something that really is so like critically important to data privacy and consumer trust and all those things that everyone else is going to talk about? But how do you make sure that you ask AI the right questions to get the information you need to then go to market with something that's a really strong and compelling story that doesn't sound like, oh yeah, we take care of your customer data. Well, yeah, of course. Like if you don't don't exist. And so in this case, it did help me focus more on kind of the nuances of consent and compliance. And what happens when, your preference on that cookie banner that seems so small isn't respected in other parts of the ecosystem that is more downstream where, ads and marketing and things actually interact with you. And so that's a really big problem. So building really the story around that, not just like consent this and consent that and data privacy, but building that story of like, hey, something you do here impacts you over here. What does that actually look like? Because then I could also bring that to customers and say, hey, give me your thoughts on this or give me your story. We actually had OneTrust join our product launch webinar to give their perspective on things and say, hey, this company is doing incredible things within consent. Here's my perspective on it as the expert. But I could help them tell that story because I had done research more quickly and I knew how competitors were talking about it. And it was kind of a white space. Like it wasn't a lot of competitors that even existed. And so how do you build that story? I think the other thing when you're thinking more broadly about go-to-market and AI is like, so I think a lot of people know I'm kind of anti-category creation unless you're like a huge company like Salesforce and Adobe. Like I'm not a fan of category creation, but sometimes there are founders or, CEOs that are really like, we're going to build a category and this is really, amazing and new and blah, blah, blah. But that's a big bet, right? I mean, I don't know if you've ever created a category, but like the resources, the money, the time, if it doesn't work, I've seen companies like Speckit that tried to build a just-in-time learning category. It didn't work. And I see that all too often. Again, the excitement is there and it should be, but AI can help you gut check, okay, like, is this viable? Like, I will say AI and analysts also help with this. Like humans actually very, of course, obviously.
We still need them.
We still very much need, yes, analysts, the people that actually do the research themselves. So there is that. But in terms of like a story of something to think about, it's a good way to kind of initial gut check. Like if your gut is telling you something, you just kind of like check it with AI and say like, are you sure? Are you sure? What haven't I considered? Like things like that. It's a good starting point that you don't make that investment and then look back and be like, oops, like thanks. So
that's true.
Yeah.
So moving on to one of the things that I really love is that you share a lot of great tips on writing smarter prompts and I think it's called PMM hacks. Like what's your go-to strategy for that? What's one nudge that made you to start working for that?
A couple of things. I've tried a lot of prompts that don't work, like give me absolute trash, or it's like every other word is a buzzword. So that's one thing. Two, this is kind of a funny story, kind of not. When ChatGPT first started getting big, I saw job openings for like AI prompt engineers that were paying like crazy amounts of money. And I was like, I need to figure this out because if, heaven forbid product marketing goes away, which it won't, but I need to figure this out because like some nice salaries there. That knowing like what makes a good prompt. Two things I would say. One, like product marketing hack, it's called Prompt Genie, like Aladdin Genie. Literally any prompt, if it's like even the most standard, like, I don't know, pull comp intel for this competitor, right? Prompt Genie will take that and write like a very comprehensive prompt, like everything for you, copy paste in ChatGPT. If you haven't tried it, try it side by side with your prompt and what Prompt Genie spits out. It is like chef's kiss. It is so, so good. So that's my hack if you don't want to like get into like the nitty gritty of what makes a good prompt and that kind of stuff. The three things though I would say if you do want to try writing it yourself is one, like context. This goes back to the like old idea of like context really matters, but like who is this for? What do they care about? Like, saying I'm writing this for this audience with these pain points or whatever that might be. So context is number one. I would say two are like, what are your constraints? So what, what's the tone? What's the format if you have it? This is maybe a big one. What perspective should it take? So if you're like, I want a compelling, thought leadership blog post for technical buyers on I don't know, composable versus packaged CDPs. I don't know. But then tell it, like, give it the constraint that we want this perspective to lean towards this. Here's why. And then it can give you a response and you can say, okay, well, do you agree? Give me research to back this up or not. So that's 2. So context, constraints, and then 3 is clarity. I'm joking because I think AI uses the word clarity a lot, but I think that's really true. But like, what is the actual job you're asking it to do? So it's like, for example, one thing I've seen work really well is like, make this pitch or this messaging or this blog post really resonate with like a skeptical CFO or a skeptical chief security officer, right? Something like that. Like, give it clarity on what you want that output to be really helps as well. So, and the last thing I would say is within that same prompt is like, ask it to reflect on what it's saying before it even writes anything. Like, ask it to reflect internally on like, is this compelling? Is it interesting? You know, what is that perspective? I think it's actually kind of I don't know if I call it a hack, but it's always good because it gives it another second to really think about what it's saying. So
Definitely. One of the things that I have heard people talking about is, you're using Chat GPT. It's anyway gonna give you generic answers. Probably your prompt sucks. But it has to be very specific. It has to be context driven to actually give you a perfect answer.
Something I don't know if people are catching on to as much or not, but definitely like adding in if you have a document, a point of view, a transcript from a gong call, like those little extra pieces of context really help it to
Absolutely
build something better too. So definitely if you have those documents, always add them in. Even links you can pull, a YouTube link, whatever.
And what I love about ChatGPT and Claude and Perplexity is that they read transcripts as well. So it has made my job as a newbie podcaster as well so easy. Like Michelle, it has made it amazingly good. And sometimes I am in awe of, okay, you did a better job than me. So
whatever, you're saving time.
Exactly. And definitely it's about the context that I have said. The content is mine and everything. It's just helping me refine it, and it does a really good job. I don't want to jinx it, but just keep giving me really good results.
Hey, something is working and we'll take it. Like, it's only getting better.
At least if ChatGPT becomes that evil monster, and I'll be in its good book, so I want to be sure of that.
Yeah, what's funny to me is how polite some people are to these.
Yeah, can you please write an email? Thank you.
Yeah. Which, maybe you're right. Maybe like one day AIs can be like, you weren't super nice to me. I'm like, I wasn't me, I don't know.
So I always want to be in its good books, so no matter what happens.
I appreciate that.
Yeah. Okay, moving on to the flip side of we have been talking about AI. So what part of PMM process do you still think there's a huge need for human in the loop from starting till the finish point? Definitely you can add on to those AI tools, but what still feels like a human is needed in that process?
Yeah, I mean, I still think almost everything, even again, comp intel, even like market research. I say that because like AI can simulate a lot, like it can produce things, but it can't like feel what's at stake, right? It can't like feel, the pain of if we get this wrong, or, the what we're actually helping customers with if things don't go right. And so, there's like, if you think about the outputs, it's very much like text. Like it is like a narrative arc to what it thinks you're asking, but emotion piece needs to flow through in everything. Messaging, I think, is a really good example. I get a lot of questions on what AI tool can build really good messaging. Well, I can tell you the best like text generator, in my opinion, based on if you're a B2C, B2B, or more technical. Like I think there are different GPTs that do better based on that. But if the messaging doc is like the core of everything else you're building, which in most cases it is, like, you can't just copy paste and then throw, okay, build a blog, build these other assets.
Exactly.
Just copy and paste. Like that's still a problem. The other maybe creepy thing I think about AI, I don't know if you've seen this yet. There are now tools, I think Google's Notebook LM does this, where it'll take like a conversation or like a prompt and actually output like a podcast style conversation between people, like actual voices, like talking back and forth, kind of interview stuff. Like it's kind of creepy. That, like, if you're trying to have a conversation with a customer, right, or you're like trying to do some sort of back and forth conversational video, I think right now that's not quite where it needs to be. And I think we still need that personal interaction. Again, back to the emotions, right? We still need that. I think that example is kind of funny because I've tried it once, and it's like So there was an interviewer and interviewee. One was a male, one was a female, and halfway through, like their genders switched. So it was just kind of like, wait, did that, now who's asking? It was very kind of funny. And I'm like, validating that, we're still needed, like still very much needed. And we still got the upper hand, like perfect.
I think we'll always have the upper hand. So many people have been talking about it's gonna take your jobs, it's gonna do this, it's gonna do that. I think almost half of the LinkedIn posts are about, AI is gonna take your job. It will never go to that point, and definitely you have to adapt to the technologies that are coming in. You have to upgrade yourself, you have to upskill yourself. You will have to be at par with that. But I feel it's not ever gonna be that efficient as a human in the loop will always be. That's my personal opinion. People can counter that, but I still believe it's not gonna take your jobs. But you will have to be very smart enough to adapt to that and make it better use of it.
I think, well, and two quick things to that. I think AI is for acceleration, like have a better foundation, do more faster.
Right.
Awesome. It's not for absolution, right? It's not like your end situation. I think the other thing to think about too is like we've always adapted to technology, right? Like I remember the days where you couldn't doing SMS and email marketing were totally different tools. Like there was no cross-channel collaboration or cross-channel communication. So I say that because if we say, AI is taking our job, yes, the acceleration of technology and how game-changing it is, yes, that is important. But like think back to all the tech, from flip phones to smartphones, like we've been through so many cool iterations of technology that we shouldn't be scared of. Like, let's embrace it. I loved my flip phone, but I tell you what, I really love my smartphone. Like built-in GPS, yes, please. I still had to plug it into my car back in the day. You know what I mean? So I say that because let's not be scared of it. Let's embrace it. Like you said, the ones that do will be the ones I think to really win in the end.
Exactly. Yeah. And I love that. It has always made me more excited, more curious. Like, I'm still very curious on what other use cases AI is bringing in our day-to-day workflows. And I'm always on the look for trying new tools. Maybe it's like a free trial or somebody is ready to give me a demo about their AI tool. I'm more than happy to jump on that call and understand what the use cases, how they're solving life of product marketers as well. So I believe most of the companies should make us their primary personas now because we are the early adapters to those tools. And I think the shift is changing because I have had 2-3 calls in the last week where I've been on demo calls and people are showing me, hey, I think you are our persona. Can we just demo it to you? I'm like, yeah, why not? Let's get into it. I just want them to know you have that upper hand.
Yeah. Yes. And exactly. That's why we're having this conversation, right? Like it's there, it exists. Like we just have to use it and ask the questions and try it. I think today I literally was like, has anyone tried this? It's a market research tool called Alphana. I haven't tried it. Is it worth trying out? Like there's so many other tools that do this. I had a couple people give me their perspective on why it's better than Perplexity. I'm like, wow. This, that's a conversation we
exactly,
need.
Yeah. And
cool.
Not everybody has to like it, but
yeah.
The possibility of what they can do and what they can't do with that particular tool is something that I always love as a conversation.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I think most product marketers think the same way.
This is why we do what we do. There's
exactly. Yeah. Okay, moving on to some tools that I really want to know from you. How do you personally filter what's actually working for you, helpful for you, and what's just a hype?
Yeah, so maybe two things. One, like you said, there's a million tools. Yes, I'm in ChatGPT every day. Yes, I've compared Chat with Claude, with Perplexity, all those things, right? So there's that. The second thing I would say is like what is challenging you the most? What is taking up most of your time? Because there are so many tools, like where does that start? Again, like people ask me if I had AI budget, where would you invest first? The reason I'm looking at market intelligence tools and some comp intel tools is that it's really going to be better, that doesn't hallucinate, that can actually validate all the research it's finding as a starting point for everything else I'm building, because there are a million tools that can take a good messaging doc or a good enablement video and turn it into a million other things. So yeah, that's one that I would say a very, very good place to start. I'm still working through maybe what the best tool is for that. But if you want fun ones that are really, really high impact, most of them have free trials to try them out. Ones that I'm just I'm like, oh my God, this existed 3 years ago. One is I just tried this. Oh my God, what is it called? I just talked about it last week. Not AlphaSense. Why is that in my head? Oh my gosh.
What does it do?
So it'll take it's in my PMM hack last week. This is embarrassing, but it takes a video. So say you have an enablement video, you're talking with like a product manager or even your founders having a conversation, or it's like a webinar from a customer, whatever. It takes a video, it like pulls it into, they call it a template, and it'll spit out everything you need for either like a product launch or like a marketing campaign. I mean, it's literally like you have a list on the side of every deliverable you need. So you take this video and it turns it like all within the same kind of format, into a blog post, into a landing page, into a social post, into PR, literally, and it'll upload as much, time of videos that you need, and everything is spit out, and you can like edit the prompt, you can say, hey, change this tone, remove this buzzword, whatever, the transcript's in there, but like one click video and like all the deliverables you could ask for like a product launch. I almost thought it was too good to be true. I was like,
And now that you're not telling me the name, I'm just very curious. Is it a really real product?
okay, now I'm gonna have, this is so embarrassing. Hold on. Alphana, that's it. Alphana. It was Alphana, not AlphaSense. As soon as they can do text, like a messaging doc, into all those deliverables, I think like game changer. So that's one. The second one I do really love is Gamma. Have you tried? Okay, everyone loves Gamma. My favorite thing to do with Gamma is to take a blog post or a messaging doc and turn it into slides. I'm like, two things that does.
It's
One,
so good.
it's so good. Like the images are good, and what it pulls is always interesting. It's kind of like a good validation for me to say, does it understand my key points of a bigger? And it does. But that's also a sign of a good messaging doc. So like
That's what I was about to say. Your doc has to be really good.
Gamma does a very good job. And even like landing pages, like websites, like working, like I literally put in a prompt. It was like, build a landing page website for a happy hour event between this company and this company. And it was like, boop, here you go. That's like fantastic. I mean, you have to figure out, anyway, you figure out registration, but I was like, for a full blown, like working landing, this is great. So there's so many ways to take like assets and repurposing them and like things like that. And the last one I would say, because this is one that I think there'll be a lot more companies doing this, is called Tribyl. It takes the conversations your sales reps are having and basically like ties that to revenue. So what talk tracks are resonating, they're actually pushing the sales cycle through the different stages so that you say, okay, hey, you just launched new messaging, right? Like our company is now going to focus on, I don't know, here's our product vision, whatever. You enable sales with that. You're curious, one, if they're using that talk track, and two, is it actually working to put sales through pipeline? And Tribyl can actually tell you that. And so what that excites me about, and so when we talk about KPIs for product marketers and we're like, we don't know really what to measure, I mean, Tribyl, something like that, tying like talk tracks and content to revenue could eventually be a really interesting way to start thinking about like product marketing KPI, which is a whole nother conversation.
Yeah, it is.
It's fine. It's fine. But like and there's stuff for SEO, and there's stuff for like content optimization, and like what are your competitors doing on different social, whatever that's really resonating. So there's like a million things. Like suggestion for people is, if you're really struggling with something, like have a conversation, ask on LinkedIn. I'm guaranteed there's someone or probably 10 plus people that have an idea of things to try.
Exactly. And it's always good to know that there are tools and also upcoming tools that are solving a lot of core problems for not only PMMs, I guess, but CMOs and VPs and CROs. So I think it's kind of helping us be better and smarter individuals.
The probably the coolest, if you just want to geek out on tech for changing the game for marketing, it's called AAMPE, AAMPE. Their agents are, I mean, it's going to 100% change the game on all of marketing. Like there's a lot of tools that do like predictive audiences and smart segments, but AMP is like truly one-to-one, like learns you and like what motivates you and how does it work within the context of what you're looking for, so that, I mean, you truly get personalized. Like, so say we're both, I don't know, ordering food on Grubhub late night, right? And we both want Chinese food, right? AMP's agents can say, okay, Shruti prefers, I don't know, convenience, like what's going to get here the fastest. But Michelle cares more about like price, maybe, right? I just want the cheapest option. So it'll show you modularly within the app, what motivates you as a buyer to show you that stuff in real time. I mean, it's just like mind-blowing tech, but like wherever we're going, it's so cool. So Paul and Sean are the founders. They're the smartest. They're like data science background, psychology background. So they understand like how the mind works. And again, like what motivates people. So to translate that into technology is like, it's so cool. So cool. I mean, it's just so cool.
Wow. I'm definitely going to try that.
Yeah, check it out. Definitely. I mean, the whole team there is awesome. Yeah, it's really cool.
I've been hearing a lot about Lovable. Have you tried?
Yeah, so it's like the way I've used Lovable, and I'm sure there's other use cases, is like getting kind of pseudo product images. So if I say, yeah, I want this product, it's actually pretty good in some cases. I think it's better than some products UIs, but it's good for inspiration, right? Like if you're like, and I'm not a UX designer, that, but it, as a potential user, I'm like, man, this stuff's like quite good. So if you're doing slides wet for website images, like chef's kiss. Anyway, yes, I love.
I think it's pretty lovable.
Yeah, the name just it just works.
Okay, I love that you have just mentioned so many, and I think people listening have to actually take some notes on what other tools they have to try to actually make their work better. But moving on to a little bit about learning and upskilling, because there are also many courses and many certifications that are coming in, and I have tried and they feel a bit generic. And if somebody is learning from a course that was made in 2021, I feel it's
Yeah.
lacking a lot of context.
Yep.
So what would you recommend to PMMs or marketers who want to get smarter about using AI in their work?
Yeah, gosh, I mean, there's so many, but like you said, if it's beyond like 2024 even, I would suggest maybe looking elsewhere. Harvard does some free classes which are actually pretty decent. They are a little more generic beyond like product marketing use cases or marketing use cases, but it's still like a good base. Like, was an agent versus an LLM? Some of those kind of like foundational concepts just to understand the technology itself. Exit 5 is also really good. Zach Roberts from We're Not Marketers has actually a course on it. He and Gab both actually are building like GPTs for product marketers. They are fantastic. Like, I think every product marketer should know how to build a GPT. Like, I'm very passionate about that. So that, again, for messaging or competitive intel, like some of these like personal GPTs are really, really good for that. So once you know how to, it's not as intimidating as some people may think. So definitely worth learning how to do that. And then there's a lot of really good like newsletters, like daily AI newsletters that are really fun, just like for things to try or like what tool is new, or share out a customer story of how AI is being intertwined into different tech stacks, which I think is really, really important. That's probably again a whole another episode of like how are we bringing AI into these stacks, whether it's for product marketing or broader conversations. But that's another good one as well. But like, of course, I'm always open to talk. If, like I said, I just have a lot of people saying, I have this use case, I'm struggling with this, what would you recommend? Sometimes I have suggestions, sometimes I don't. But same with you as well. Like, keep the conversation open. If you have a question, ask it. There will be plenty of people that know how to help you in
Yeah.
some way.
Exactly. And for PMM prompts, people are gonna follow you as a creator, but who are you following for all AI, information? I have recently followed Jeff too, so I'm not sure if you know him. He's just creating videos on YouTube about how to do that, and like it's pretty awesome.
So there's maybe I'll send a list because there's like probably 10 people. Ruben, I'm not gonna get his last name. He's like the AI guy. Like there's literally probably 10 or so people that just they know their stuff. They know the prompts, the tools. It's just really good other people to follow and learn from. But I guess the one thing I will say too is like this takes all of us. Like, I want to learn from you as much as anyone might want to learn from me. And I think some of those people that are really leading the way, it's just like cool to see how transparent everyone's being about this, because, we're learning together. We're not just, like keeping those.
I think we've covered pretty much about AI and how product marketing is getting excited about all the upcoming tools. But thank you so much, Michelle. Also really looking forward to the tools that I'll be trying just now.
Oh gosh, you are the best. Thank you for what you're doing, for having these conversations and just making it fun and interesting. I think, like you said, you're helping us all learn and like bringing the industry and the team forward. So thank you for having me.
I love that. Thank you so much, Michelle. And people who are listening, please subscribe if you haven't already. And we talk a lot about AI, product marketing, and a lot more. This is Shruti signing off. Thank you.
Thanks.